Before I ever enter a lower time frame trade, I always know the setup I'm looking for and what qualifies as a trade. In this video, I'll show you how I prepare for lower time frame trades using the same strategy and the same rules. Okay, when we're talking about supply, we're looking for areas where price has made an aggressive move downward. We can see that price made an aggressive move downward here, and also a pretty aggressive move downward here. And supply is the last push up before an aggressive move down. And so this is our 5-minute supply. We also notice that there is another supply zone here. Here's an aggressive move down, and so we're going to mark another zone. Our last push up before an aggressive move down is here. All right, and this is another 5-minute supply area. Okay, and so what we're doing is looking for price to return to one of these zones. Okay, we notice that price did return to this zone here at 9:45. Price tapped back into this zone. And so here's our path of price action. We saw price come down here. It left the supply area, returned to the zone, and continued downward. Okay, when price did return, we know that we shouldn't get into the trade yet. What we're doing is waiting for our signal. We're looking for either a 3-bar reversal or an engulfing candle. And here we have a 3-bar reversal. Our first bar occurs at 9:45, our second bar occurs at 9:50, and the third bar occurs at 9:55. So we could have entered this trade at 10 o'clock and held it for a 1-to-1. And if we look left, we can see that there is a small gap here in price action. So we could mark that area and hold until price gets to that area. After the 1-to-1, we want to be sure to secure some profit, and then we could hold a runner until this gap fill. We could also go down to a 1-minute time frame and look for our entry there. All right, and then we see price coming down here and tapping back in around this time. And once we see this engulfing candle here on the 1-minute time frame, then we could enter the trade. So we could have entered a little bit earlier if we had been on the 1 minute. And you can see that there is a little tap here, but I like for my retest to be in the shape of either a U or a V. We want it to curve down and come back up and tap in. So that's what we're looking for. And so our entry would have been right around in here, and we would look left to see where we should be, where we should exit. We can see there is a support area here. And so we could have held to this area and then left a runner to fill in the gap. Price came down. It's making a V shape or a U shape, coming back up and tapping into the zone. And we can see that it tapped 1, 2, 3 times, and then on the 4th time we had an engulfing candle. And so after this engulfing candle, we could have entered the trade. Okay, and here we are in the 5-minute time frame. The 9:30 New York Open, price pushed away pretty aggressively here, so we can go ahead and mark our demand zone. Here we go. We can go down to the 1-minute time frame. And what you're doing when you're going back in time like this is a good way to study. All right, and so we can mark our zones exactly with our tool like this. This is our last push down before an aggressive move up. Okay, and then we're going to wait to look for a place where price makes a U shape or a V shape and comes back into the zone. And then we've got to wait for our signal. So price comes back into the zone here, and our signal is either a 3-bar reversal or an engulfing candle. And we can see that there is an engulfing candle here at 10:38 a.m. And so we would use our long position tool. And I have mine just set up for a 1-to-1 because we want at least that. We would remove some of our trade here at the 1-to-1 and secure some profit. And then we could leave a runner if we would like until the next area of resistance, which would be here. And we can see that we reached that area of resistance around 11 o'clock. And we can see here's our 9:30 open. We had an aggressive push up We can mark our 5-minute demand zone. And what we're doing is waiting for a tap back into our zone. Okay, and so this was the first 5 minutes here. Here's a 9:30 and 9:35 occurred about right here. And so we want price to go make a U shape or a V shape and tap back in. And we can see that that tap back in occurred right around 9:45 or so. And we're looking for an engulfing candle or a 3-bar reversal. And we have an engulfing candle here at 9:49. We've also got a hammer to the upside. So those are pretty good indications that price may continue upward. And so we would get our long position tool and put it about here. It's set for a 1-to-1. Remember, these are quick trades. These are just scalps. So you would be in this position just for between 9:51 and 10:02, so about 10 minutes. You'd be in this position, and you would remove some of your profit here, secure some profit here, leave a runner if you'd like to the next area of resistance. And before you do decide to leave a runner, and I would probably choose this wick here. Before you do decide to do that, be sure to, after you've secured some profit, be sure to move your stop loss to break even. Okay, now we're going to take a look at a supply zone trade, and we'll have a live example at the end. So we noticed that on gold this morning, price broke out of the supply zone. Okay, and it's already tapped back in around 10:30, and now we're waiting to see if price will give us a signal that it's ready to go to the downside. So we're looking for either that 3-bar reversal or an engulfing candle. Before we trade, we're always going to check Forex Factory or check some sort of news source to see if there's any news that's happening during this time. Okay, and what we've noticed so far is that we're getting an engulfing candle, and this also looks like a pattern that we've seen before called a two-top. And so we went on and entered the live trade here, and we can see that price is starting to move downward. And as soon as price leaves the zone, then we'll go ahead and move our stop loss to break even, or at least into profit enough to cover the commission.